inside you. Of course, your exterior needs to match your interior. Needs to match. If your interior is rotten, you could hide it with your exterior. But if your exterior is rotten, we won't even look at your interior. Why? Because there's no way for your interior to be any good if you're half naked all day. Where do we see this from? We learn this from the Gemara, Masechet Sotah, page 2. Where they say that a man gets a woman based on his maasim, based on his deeds. And Rashi explains it. He says, yes, a tzaddik gets a modest woman, a rasha gets a prostitute. So Chazal asks, what do you mean? What does one thing have to do with the other? Tzaddik, tzaddika, rasha, rashait. Righteous with righteous, wicked with wicked. What are you saying? You know, righteous with a modest, not righteous with a prostitute. What does one thing have to do with the other? So Rashi explains, if he's a tzaddik, he's going to get a modest woman, because if she's modest, much more likely that she is righteous. Not always, but much more likely to be righteous. But if he's a rasha, he deserves a prostitute. Why? Because if she is immodest, it's impossible for her to be righteous. There's not one woman on earth that ever existed in all of the generations that was immodest and righteous at the same time. Why? Because in essence, when you are immodest, especially as a woman, as a man, it's not necessarily as relevant to the same extent. It's relevant because men have to be modest also, but not to the same extent. Why? Because if a man walks around half naked, most women just think he's just, I don't know, maybe he thinks he's a cow, maybe he thinks he's Conan the Barbarian or Tarzan. They don't think much of him. They don't have any lustrous thoughts about this guy. They just think, maybe he's homeless. Who knows? But when a woman walks around with a tank top, or with a mini skirt, or with clothes that are very, very tight, or she wears one of these wigs that looks like she's a superstar from one of these, Oscar shows, and you can't even tell that it's not really her real hair, and she looks immodest, what happens? All of the guys, excuse my language, but every single guy that she walks by imagines having sex with her. Every single guy, holy and not holy. Every single guy that failed the test and got to a point of looking at her for a moment or longer thinks about having sex with her. That's the sad reality. And that, my friends, is a sin deoraita. It's a biblical sin to such an extent that the Torah says, "Areg ve'al ya'avo." It's better that he die and not have that thought. So when a woman pretends to be a tzadikah, she says, listen, I'm going to the Shiur Torah, but I'm going with my tank top. What does the rabbi care about my tank top? What does the rabbi care about my tight top? What do they care? He's a rabbi. He should be focused on his Torah. The other people should be focusing on Torah, not on my clothes. I like it. It makes me feel good, which is all bogus, by the way. No one dresses like that because it makes them feel good. A tight clothes do not make anyone feel good. It makes you feel constricted. The fact that you have to breathe in before you close your jeans is not making anyone feel good. Not making anyone. Let's start, at least let's pass the lie. No one wears those clothes because it makes them feel good. No one walks around with a mini skirt in the snow they have in New York right now because it makes them feel good. You're freezing. You would prefer to have ski clothes on right now. But you wear the skirt because you want attention. Maybe you didn't get attention at home. Maybe you didn't get a hug. I don't know. So you didn't get attention, so you want attention from somewhere else. But if you want a relationship with Hashem, you must get over this craziness, because you are literally destroying your connection with Hashem Yitbarach. He loves you, but He's forced to not pay attention to you. You pray, He listens, but He's forced not to answer you. Why? Because when you are immodest, you are killing His children. You're also His child, but you're killing the rest of His kids, because each time one of these Baalei Tshuva, one of these rabbis, one of these Talmidim, one of these teenagers, one of these Goyim, Anytime someone looks at you and imagines a sexual thought, you're destroying their neshama. You're destroying Hashem's kids. How do you expect Hashem to listen to anything you say? So, when a person understands the responsibility they have to the world around them, it becomes much easier. When a person is selfish, there's no way that they can have a connection with